Hi everybody, it is Quinn. I almost want to say it's the Quinn and Halley show, but today it is not. Today it is not. It is the What's Your Self-Love Story. So for those of you guys who's been following Mondays, you've been noticing me and someone else talking about their self-love journey. So I started this because, how would I say it? When I'm sharing me, it's all great and all. And there's something else about adding other people's stories because mine's going to be completely different from hers, and everybody has such a unique experience with how they've experienced pain. And maybe some of you guys are stuck. Maybe you guys just need that story that's a little bit similar to yours so it can give you more hope to be like, okay, I can do it. Sometimes when you meet, or a lot of times when you meet other people who had a very similar story to yours and they're speaking from a place of where they're healing, it can be very, 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 very encouraging. So that's why I'm doing it. So, hi Michelle! Look at Michelle. Hi. So we're going to talk all about her today, about your self-love journey. I'm so excited. Because I've witnessed so much of your journey and I'm just like thrilled. And I just remember this moment where you kind of like put your foot down and you spoke in such a way that was like so strong and confident and like just, I was like, oh, it's happening. Like I saw like the shifts and the different stages of healing that I've seen you go through. And it's so cool to be the observer, you know, because you get to see it. So just to welcome this, what's up self-love warriors? What's up, girl? We have another self-love warrior tuning in with us. Hi Tara. Hi. I'm so happy you were able to comment. Facebook was like not letting her comment anymore because she was commenting so much on people's stuff. Hi Tara. So let's get started. So if she says anything that you guys want to ask, we'll answer them at the end. But with further ado, this is my lovely friend, my partner in creation and leading workshops, and it's been so wonderful. When I met this soul, she just welcomed me with just like loving, warming vibes. So Halley, guys, it's Halley, also known as Portals. That's her Instagram and her brand if you guys want to follow that. Portals, literally, it's so easy. Portals, find her. Okay, girl.
Yeah.
Talking about self-love and the healing journey. What were some of, what did it take for you to start? And I know there's different places where you really like dove deeper into it, but just coming across healing, coming across self-love, coming across like healthy outlets, like when did that come about for you? And like what started happening in your life where you were like, I'm open to something else? What is it? When you realize things weren't working anymore. Yeah. So what were some of those events in your life?
Well, I'm one of those people that kind of got on the spiritual path pretty early in life. And so I was drawn to spirituality and the healing arts like in my late teens, early 20s. And just because I think I came here already spiritual from previous lifetimes, and so it felt really natural for me to kind of like that's where my curiosity naturally was oriented. And then when I was 22, my mom died, and she was my only living parent. And so I was done with having parents at 22, and I was really afraid and really heartbroken and really sad, and just had a lot of like grieving to move through for years, like probably like intensive grieving for about 5 years.
Wow.
And then it tapered off, but it was really a lot. It was a lot of grief.
I'm sure you guys can relate, for those of you guys who've lost your parent at like young age. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that really kind of, and then there's so many events in my life that I could talk about that I'm just not going to go into right now, about how I kind of got on to the path of working as a healer and offering healing.
Right, and then there's that stage where you get to help people with their healing journey. Yeah.
But I think that, there's when I
know there's a lot, you guys.
Yeah, like,
when I ask like what events, yeah, maybe pick one that just is jumping out at you, or there's no way you would have enhanced your self-love journey, or God really started on it without it or something.
Yeah, so I guess my mom's death was a big one because it put me onto a path of like not having parent. I didn't have grandparents, I didn't have parents, so it was like I was like the top of my food chain in my family, right? I have aunts and uncles that were particularly an aunt that was really supportive during my phase of not having a mom, but there was something that was like very like kind of liberating and empowering of like now my path is really mine and like I get to make the decisions that I want to make and I don't have to worry about are my parents going to approve. You know, I had like all of this freedom to really choose for myself. So that was like that to me is kind of the biggest gift of losing my parents at an early age, is that I just got freed up to like choose for myself and to like follow my own instincts and my own heart. And at the same time I had this gaping hole of like, where do I belong? Who do I belong to? And so the yearning was always for like romantic connection and romantic relationship. And that wasn't something that I was really involved in my early life. Like I didn't really do boyfriends for a long time until about my mid-20s. And so then I started dating. I moved to the Midwest. I lived in Chicago for a year, and then I moved to Detroit, and I had a series of relationships in Detroit, and I was like in my mid-20s just like having boyfriends for the first time. And because I was like grieving for so many years that I just like didn't even have it in me to like do that yet.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we can all relate. Like, oh, it's too heavy.
I just couldn't.
It's
I
so
was
sad.
having to like really like take care of myself. Like that's where my energy went. But I always had the desire and the yearning and the craving and the longing. So then when I started like doing relationships, I found that the thing that I was hoping and wishing and expecting to get from my relationships was not what was happening in them. And I found myself in relationships where I was kind of the one who wanted more of the connection. I was the one who was putting more of the work in. I was the one who was more available. I was the one, you know? And so on the other side of that, I felt like a lot of neglect and a lot of rejection and a lot of just like lack of fulfillment and dissatisfaction in my connections. And then we would break up, and then I would like meet someone else, and I'd go into a relationship with them, and so I did that probably 5 major times from my mid-20s to my early 30s. And the last time that I did that, I got involved with someone who was fresh out of a big relationship of his own life, a big long-term relationship. And so he was clear and upfront from the get-go that he wasn't looking for anything serious. I was clear and upfront from the get-go that I was.
I don't know if how many of you guys have been there. Like, okay, you told me, but anyways. Yeah.
But I got involved anyways.
Yes.
And so that, and thus like unfolded like one of the biggest heartbreaks of my life, honestly, because there was such a very true and deep connection there. But he wasn't available for the connection. And so that was the biggest doozy. It was like the biggest doozy of them all. And that's right when you and I started working together, right?
Girl, that's why I'm like,
So you've been witnessing me, and I was probably like somewhere like toward the like the beginning. Here's where I am now. It's probably about here when you and I started working together. So I was still really in it and like really, really just like broken and wanting to love this person with all of my heart and might, and just, oh my gosh. But like hitting a wall with it because he couldn't.
Yeah.
And so that was really like, so then you and I started being like, well, what's the answer to every problem? You know, like it's self-love.
Yeah.
And that's when I started taking the journey like really seriously. in terms of like, this isn't something that I'm going to find outside of myself. And if and when I am, it's only going to be a reflection of what I have cultivated within myself. And so until I'm really solid on my own and I don't need another person to complete me, and I don't feel like if this person goes away, I'm going to fucking die because it hurts so bad, until I'm at that place where I can let anyone go who isn't on the same page as me, then I'm not ready for love, because then I'm going to be devaluing myself in the relationship in order to keep the relationship that isn't supporting my highest and best good. And so, yeah, so since then I've just been doing single life.
Yes, and I could attest to that, okay? Like, there was a moment where, you know, you did make a connection and you were able to let them go with no, like, you know what I mean? And I love how you spoke about, like, if I'm not, how would I say it? When you make a connection with somebody and if you're not ready to let them go, when you notice that is not in alignment, then maybe you're actually not available.
Yeah.
Like, you're not ready to really be in relationship, because you got to stick up for your own self-worth too, right? And how many times have we kind of like neglected that?
It's so true. Like, if you're willing to like abandon your own core needs in order to keep the person, you're probably not ready for that relationship.
Boom.
Or a relationship at all.
Yeah.
You know, like, the only way, to me, this is what I'm discovering. This is what I've discovered in my, I'm coming up on like a year of celibacy here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not quite at a year. I'm probably at like 8 months or something like
that.
Yes.
So you're getting there.
It feels like 5 years. But one of the things that I've really like found is that if if having the connection is more important than your peace, then you're about to like you're about to be on a painful journey.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And that was the thing in this last connection, because it was about 2 years of being like involved with him, and then like the combination of being involved with him and then just being like so heartbroken that like life was hard. That was about a 2-year period of time. And for like those 2 years, they like had to happen. They're beautiful. I love it. Like, I'm glad that journey happened. It was so necessary. But I was miserable. You know, I spent 2 years of my life feeling horrible every day, crying every day, like, not, you know, I was still doing my work and I was still serving, and I was serving from a really raw place, which I think is really sacred. But at the same time, I didn't have any joy. You know, I couldn't access joy because I was in so much pain. And so like, I'm never doing that to myself again. And it takes like really doing it.
Yeah, like commitment, right? Like when we say we're on the self-love journey, we're talking about like, it's like a everyday practice that you go to, like, and you create this like ritual for yourself almost from like talking to so much. You have this way of you're like, I did this, and knowing where to go when you're in pain, knowing where to go when you're, you know, feeling that, because of course it's not an easy. It's not like, okay, I decide and it's going to be me here on out. It's going to be challenging. So, oh my gosh, girl. Loved everything that you shared. It's so powerful for those of you guys who's been in relationship. And then with the last current one, you're just like broken. I mean, I can relate 1,000% with what you're saying, because it's amazing how much we go look for love and the desire, and we can relate with that so much. So what can you share about like some of your rituals? What are some of your like self-love like jams? Like where do you go when you're feeling a certain type of way, when you're feeling off, when you're in pain? And hi everyone who just jumped on, feel free to chat down below. But yeah, let's get into like, what are some practices when you're in pain? Where do you go? What's in your toolbox basically? Like what's in your toolbox?
Well, first I just want to say that I think one of the most fundamental aspects of self-love is self-knowing, self-awareness. Like, the more that you know about yourself, the more you can like love yourself. It's kind of like the self-love is really abstract when you don't really have a sense of who you are. right? Because you're just kind of like throwing love in the air, you know?
I guess
like,
this is love. I don't know.
Yeah, like I guess I generally love, you know, but once you start to like decondition yourself from society and from your parents and from your peer groups and from, you know, and you start to like really take ownership of who you actually are, then there's so much opportunity to love yourself. And I think that is self-love. Like self-love is saying, I'm going to be who I am regardless of the fact if this like matches with who I think I should be or who I've thought I should be or who this person wants me to be or like what society thinks is cute or sexy or hot or smart or successful, you know?
So deconstructing that.
Deconstructing all that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, let me get down to the bare root and let me just discover myself again. Like, who the F am I?
Who the F am I?
Without the influences of society and peers and everything. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of what's in my toolbox are like tools for seeing myself.
Oh, I love how you just said that. Because when I think about my self-love tools, when I, like for an example, when I go to journaling or when I like meditate or get on the floor and stretch, like that is me seeing myself by spending time with myself. Yeah. So what are those? What's some of your faves?
So my faves, I would say. So definitely like I'm a very like studier, I'm a reader, I like to learn, I'm a learner. So whenever I'm learning something new or I'm learning about like any type of understanding of how humans are and how humans are different, and there's all of these really gorgeous systems for this. My favorite one right now is human design. Yes. Like I just like go all into studying and then I'm like, oh, I'm like this because of this, and they're like that because that's who they are. They're not trying to annoy me. That's just how they're built, how they're wired. So learning is a really big one. Spending time like in and with my body, you know, like stretching, dancing, music, like self-care, baths, you know, like the traditional like yummy, like lately I've just been like taking real good care of my feet. I've been doing like foot soaks, like foot massages, and just like pampering my feet, you know, like giving my feet lots of love. So, you know, like self-pampering always feels great. Yeah. And it is a way, it's like a tangible physical way of being like, I love you, body. Like, let me spend some quality time with you. Yes. Let me take some really good care of you. Let me touch you. Let me like make sure you're getting your needs met, you know? So that goes, you know, with food and nutrition and stuff like that, which I'm not the greatest at.
Same girl.
I'm not like Miss Foodie over here, but I try my best.
At least you feed yourself.
I feed myself, and I make sure that I'm like, you know, like up on like that I have food available to me that feels good in my body. So
reading,
body. And then like serving, like being of service to others, like that's such a way that's like, there's nothing that makes me feel like more like myself and more empowered in myself than giving my gifts to someone else.
I would say that right there, that's when you know that you have the space to do it, because to be of service of others, that takes energy, that takes you.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes enough of like you not being so in your own focus and so in your own way that you can be like, them. You know? Yeah. So yeah, it takes like enough of you to not have to be so obsessed with you all the time.
Right? You have the space to like be selfless and serve others. Yeah. Listen to people, right? Especially your clients, like, right? Like, oh my goodness, thank you for sharing your toolbox.
I'm also I love podcasts. That goes with the learning thing. I like music. Like music is so, it feeds me so much. So just like lately it's been funny just being with myself. I'll like put on my little fanny pack.
Oh my God.
Put my phone in my fanny pack, put my headphones on, and just like do like, not wearing pants, just like do my life.
I love it.
Around my house, like an 80s exerciser.
Oh my God.
Because that's like, it's like sometimes I have to like wake myself up from the trance of like, what should I be doing, to like, you get to do whatever you want. You're in your own space. Like, do whatever feels the best for you. No one is here. No one is watching you. Just like get back to like what makes sense for you, you know?
Ooh, what I'm hearing through that also is like being in a safe space in order for you to be so free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you are in your own safe sanctuary right now where you get to put on your pants, wear no pants, jam out and totally be in your own world. And like at the beginning, what you said, I just love that so much. It's like when you get to see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So what tools do you guys have in your own toolbox to be able to connect with you, as people say so much, or to really see you, like, and discover you and peel back all those layers and realize, wait, is this something that I actually like? Is this actually me? Or I've been so conditioned to people please and morph into a certain way so that people like me. There's so much of that.
In so many subtle ways that like I love discovering one. I love when I'm like, oh yeah, I don't even like that. I've just been doing that because I thought at one point in my life that it was cool to do that, but that's not even authentic to who I actually am.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I get to like ditch that.
Be
finally.
your own cool. Yeah, ditch what you were doing that you thought was cool, but only because maybe other influences or X, Y, and Z. Like, this is actually me.
This is actually me, and I don't need to be that, you know? like, yeah, and it's just that's kind of like again, like I said this in the beginning, but to me, self-love is like letting yourself be who you are.
Oh.
And like letting go of who you think you need to be, like ruthlessly letting that shit go, unapologetically, like, bye, not doing this anymore, this isn't authentic to who I am, not saying yes to this invitation, not hanging out in this social group, not, you know, whatever it is.
Yes, and you have to, and again with the self-knowing, like you have to know yourself so much to know exactly what you need, and then you get to make the decision, be like, hey, this is actually me, is this going to actually fill me up, or do I have everything I need right here?
Yeah.
You know, and of course, and then you have like the clarity and the room to connect with the people that you know, that you have the space for, and those who are safe, and allow you to be you, which even enhances, you don't have to change.
Yeah.
I would say that's a great point that you bring up. When you notice that you're people pleasing less and being able to be yourself more in multiple environments, that could be a huge indicator that you have been practicing self-love, that you've been doing something good for you because you're being very aware and intentional of where you're willing to be. And I just think about safe places, safe people, safe places. Because if you feel like, oh, you have to be a certain way, or like you're feeling judgment or something, like, ugh,
then it's not a fit.
Then it's not a fit.
And that's
knowing
like,
that, yeah.
Exactly, and that's how you get to know it, is you trust the way that you feel. If something feels off, then it's off.
Then it's off.
And you don't have to go do that, or you get to leave.
Yeah, you get to leave.
Like, you get to say, like,
process.
I'm not staying here. And you get to go, you know? And it's
totally
like, it's so, that's the thing. It's like getting to know who you are and getting to know, like, what you want and what you desire and what is actually for you is just trusting the way that you feel. And, like, following it to a T and getting out of the shoulds that live up here.
Oh, yeah.
And just getting down into the feelings in your body of like, this feels good, I'm gonna stay. This feels bad, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. And there's so much self-dialogue there. Yeah, the self-trust. Like, that's, again, the relationship with you could lead you to healthy places, healthier dialogues, and then you're able to process at a very efficient rate, because it's ultimately down to what is good for you and you feeling good. And something's just bouncing off of my head from what you said earlier, what you said about peace. Like, if you're making it more important to what you said about like being with someone else versus your peace, then you're gonna be miserable for a really long time. That just came up to me.
Do you remember that day, Quinn? I remember this day because we were outside. I think we were about to do a live, and I was like, I will never forget saying this out loud to you. I was like, I am willing to let everyone go.
Yes.
I will let everyone go.
I was like, yes, girl. Like, so as you see, with the self-love journey, you start to speak in this place where you're really sticking up for yourself and you're realizing your value and your freaking worth, your time and energy. When you said that, I got chills. I was like, damn right. Because your peace comes before everything else.
Your peace comes before everything else. And like, if you live from that place of like, I only want who's really genuinely like here with me, you know, then you're only going to have that. And then all of your relationships are like uplifting, inspiring, healthy, reciprocal relationships.
Yeah, which are fulfilling and freeing, because those are the places or people where you can still be yourself. I can't say that enough. It's freeing. It's freeing versus feeling like you're caged and you're being conditioned to be like somebody else that you're not. So, with all of that said, it's so good, you guys. So good. Give her some love. Give her some hearts for sharing her story. So, curious, with your self-love journey, like, where are you now? Like, what are some of the things that you're getting into? I know you mentioned human design a little bit with your reading. We talk like constantly, so I'm like, I know that's something that you're into right now. But yeah, what are you finding yourself like discovering, or like what's next for you? It's so funny because I just talked to you about this the other day. You're like, I'm in like waiting, right? I don't want to give away your answer, but yes, where do you feel like you are now? And yeah, where, like, what has your days been like, and what do you feel like is your chapter right now, or the stage that you're at that people ask sometimes? Yeah, where do you feel like that is for you right now?
I feel like what I am moving into now is kind of like more and deeper and bigger surrender to the will of the divine.
Oh, yeah. Sounds, there's a lot of trust, freeing, but I know it's nervous. I'm surprised you guys hearing that. Letting go, surrender. But yes,
which means more about that I don't know, and I'm like committed to not knowing for the rest of my life. I'm committed to like not having a plan for my life, because I know the more that I get to know about my design and human design, having a strategic plan is not in alignment with my design. So like, I really have to be open in order to live in my thriving state. I really have to be wide open and to try and experiment and to just like taste the rainbow of life and to take it as it comes, one day at a time. Like, this is my commitment to myself and to God and to being the person that I'm here to be, and to be of service in the way that I'm here to be, is to like really decondition the idea that I have to have it figured out.
Ooh, I love this so much. I love what you said about planning is not in your human design, and that literally made me think of being so present.
Yeah.
So present, and continue to dive deeper into you. And as you do that, you'll become open, and because you're getting to know yourself so much, you'll be able to identify, like, again, the talk about what's really for you, what's really not, because things are going to come, they're going to arise, and I'm a huge believer of like energy, and like we can witness of what we've attracted from the state of what we were being, or like watching what was working, what wasn't working for us, and like really learning what looks good or what works for us, which can look so powerful, right? And I love that so much, and that is something that I can relate to as well, with some death scares of mine. And I was like, what if I'm not here tomorrow? Would my plans tomorrow really matter? A little drastic, but I literally told my mom this the other day. It was a little extreme. But it's true though. It's so true. So I love that you highlighted that. Like,
yeah, thanks.
It's okay not to know what's going to happen or whatever. And it's like, you're being so centered and so present and peaceful with where you are today. That's what it sounds like. It's like all of that.
Thanks. And I think that when your spiritual journey is the central theme of your life, and it's the thing that matters the most to you, you're on an accelerated path of evolution, which means every day you're brand new. You're new. So if I'm today making a plan for 3 months from now, or 5 years from now, or any amount of time, who knows if in 3 months I'm still on board with that person 3 months back that made that plan, Because it's like, I'm here to like rapidly evolve.
Yes.
And to like, and to be available to what's happening in the moment.
That's so beautiful. I feel like so many of us struggle with anxiety because we do think about the future. You know, it's like the future and the past that people talk about so much, like, oh, be present, don't worry about the future or the past. And it's literally the practice of that, and like literally trusting that whatever's coming is for you and it's on its way. And for the time being, you're just gonna be with you. And it made me think about like having flow.
Yeah.
Having flow in your life, because you don't know what's gonna like come, who's gonna call you or what's gonna happen. And then you'll have the skills, because if you've been practicing this way of being and being so present, that you'll know what to do when it happens, because you've been really focused on just focusing on that practice, that way of living. So I love that so much.
Thanks.
I love
Yeah,
that so much.
I think that flow, it's funny that you mentioned flow.
Yeah.
I think that's the theme of my life. Like, I really feel like I came here, I was like, I want to come here and learn how to flow this lifetime. Like, that's what I'm here to do, is like figure out flow.
Flow, right? And that's when you make the commitment of your inner peace, like really making your peace a priority, and not what did you say at the park? That you're willing to let go of anything that doesn't serve you. Say that again.
I will let anyone go.
You will let anyone
no
go.
one, like, there's no one that has a special little seat that's like anyone but this, like, anyone. I will let anyone go.
And that's so powerful for you to say, because as you were sharing with like experiencing freedom at such an early age of no longer having both parents in your life anymore, and then you got into relationships and you experience all that. So when you experience this lifestyle that you have right now, you're like, wow, like I can't afford to let anyone mess this up or allow to be affected by others so much where my peace is gone and it's going to rupture everything that I've created. So there's something about what you've created, what you earned for yourself, to this lifestyle. Because even in this space that we're in right now, like from outside in, like you made it happen because you put yourself first, and then it came to, wait a minute, I'm worthy of a place that I can feel good in and not just settle.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think that when you're loving others from a place of like, I love you with all of my heart and I will let you go. You know,
that's so powerful.
You can like hold people from a detached place where you're not taking on their stuff. That's, you know, it's like, I can love you fully, like so fully.
Like, I accept you where you are, and
I'm not going to like take your pain on, you know, because at the same time, I'm also letting you go.
And
like, I'm
their
loving
pain,
you and I'm letting you go to go have your journey. Yeah. To go do your journey to go learn through your pain, you know? Yeah.
It allows us again to really flow.
Oh, that's my Instacart.
Oh,
I have to go grab it.
No, that's
okay.
That's time basically.
All right.
Peace and love, you guys. Give it up for Halley. Please give her some hearts. I'm gonna put her Instagram and tag her page. She is a lovely, beautiful human being. You can see why I do workshops with her. Obviously, you can see why we're aligned in that way to service our community virtually. So if you guys have not liked our self-love exodus yet, I will put that above as well. And hi everyone who's here. Do you guys, Tara, you say powerful. I know that you guys have been watching. And Michelle, I'm sure Halley saw that because I saw her looking at it, but she didn't want to like stop her flow of sharing. But yeah, Michelle says celibate is sexy. Yes, because like when you say that, I think of having what's that word? Discipline to really hold your own and not give yourself up so easily. Oh, Lynn says, love this. Thank you. And then I was just commenting on Michelle's comment on celibate is sexy. I was just saying it is. Yeah, because that just shows your self-worth and you're really like honoring you and like being like, hold on, have you earned really that kind of intimate time with me? You know, I'm just gonna be like, hi, let's just get it going. No. Tara says, amazing. Thank you, Halley, for sharing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. It was so nice to meet you.
And I know this isn't our show that we normally do, but the next workshop that we do we're gonna promote it soon, but it's on like having patience in our intimate connections.
Yes.
And like patience in getting to know people. So it's very connected to my story, Quyn's story, and we're just gonna go deeper into it.
Yes. All right, you guys, make sure you follow her. I'm gonna put all her stuff up above. You're receiving a lot of love. Earth got a Spider-Man. Oh, hey, Shen. Hi, Steven. Oh my God, love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you guys for being here. For anyone who's watching the replay, feel free to still share some love. Share this out if you feel like her story can connect with somebody in your community. Again, you never know. I mean, we all have experience with relationships, so these topics are so important. High five. Yes, Miles. Tara, love you both so much, and you inspire me so much. Halley, I am relating to you so much.
Oh
yes,
my gosh, I love it.
know.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
So in story sharing, it's very powerful because you will see that you're not the only one, right? And and as I spotlight a different person every Monday, like there's going to be a different person. Yeah,
This is so great. Great work, honey.
yeah. Okay. All right. Michelle. Danielle. Hi. All right, guys. We are out. Watch the replay and hope to see you in our next workshop. We also host Meditate and Conversate every single Thursday. We do all the things together. Okay. Loving self with you, ladies, is always amazing. Yes, Brandon. There's some people here that are involved in our communities. Whether you have meditated with us, you have attended a workshop with us, or you've watched these lives with us. So yeah. And we're also live every single week. You've seen her before, but I'm so happy that you got to share you today. Oh my God, I cannot thank you enough for being so open in sharing the places that have hurt you and also empowered you and what you found that truly works with you. And thank you for dropping some fire truths. All right, guys, have a lovely evening. I'll see you next Monday with a new face. And this is Halley. Halley, much love. All right, guys, have a good night. Bye.